The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Is your accountant an autistic killer? Because if not, you are missing out on a lot more than just tax write-offs. Amber and Scott discuss all this after watching The Accountant 2. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Now, this is the type of accountant I need to get doing my taxes. Just in case I piss a lot of people off.
I think it's good to have the accountant on your payroll because he can beat the crap out of anybody who does you wrong.
Yeah.
So we saw the first installment of The Accountant the weekend before we saw this film because we weren't familiar with this franchise. So
And it's a good thing we did because I would have been lost as hell if we hadn't seen the first one.
yeah, definitely don't see number 2 without seeing number 1. So we are talking about The Accountant 2. Christian Wolff has a talent for solving complex problems. When an old acquaintance is murdered, leaving behind a cryptic message to find the accountant, Wolff is compelled to solve the case. Realizing more extreme measures are necessary, Wolff recruits his estranged and highly lethal brother Brax to help. In partnership with U.S. Treasury Deputy Director Mary Beth Medina, they uncover a deadly conspiracy, becoming targets of a ruthless network of killers who will stop at nothing to keep their secrets buried. I like the first one much better than the second one, but I find that Christian Wolff is a fascinating character. So basically, I know you can speak to this, he has autism. He is insanely intelligent, and because his dad was in the military and didn't want Christian to be bullied for being different, he taught him and his other son, Brax, to do all kinds of extreme martial arts and fighting skills. And that's what we learn in The Accountant 1, and we have a little story there. But for The Accountant 2, we have a case that Christian gets brought in on, and then he brings his brother, and chaos ensues. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
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 That's all you got?
Sorry. I was looking up something at the time because I had a point I wanted to make about how freaking long of a drive it is from LA to Juarez. Because I've been to Juarez, Mexico. I know where it is.
Yeah, there's a scene at the end where they go to Juarez.
Except I have just now learned that there are 2 Juarez, Mexicos. Ciudad Juarez, which is
Fun
one
with maps right here on Cinema IRL.
Ciudad Juarez, the one I've been to, which was basically a border city with El Paso. But apparently there's like a section or a subset. I don't know if it's basically part of Tijuana. And I'm like, I'm not going to drive a freaking Airstream for revenge from LA to Ciudad Juarez in freaking El Paso. That's a long ass freaking drive.
Well, they're trying to save a bunch of kids.
Yeah, well, but the other Juarez is only like 133 miles, so that one's
so you're
doable.
going to go to the wrong Juarez, so you
I
can
probably
save
would've.
so you can save some time.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
probably.
the kids are on their own, going to a dirt hole to be buried alive, or maybe shot and then buried.
They weren't clear
That's
which
great. I'm
Juarez.
glad you are not the accountant because we would all be up a creek.
Yeah.
So this character is a fascinating character, and so many of the what would you do's could be based in some of. It's kind of funny because in one of the other films we talk about an awkward character of Craig in Friendship, but Christian Wolff is awkward in a whole different way because he has autism.
Yes. So this is actual, like I mentioned in the last one, that was not autism. This was autism, and it is much more identifiable and easy to see. And when you see someone with autism, like if you're paying attention, you can figure that out, and you understand that like they truly cannot help the way that they are with their social awkwardness. So like you just kind of have to accept that's who they are. Now, that said, that's not easy to do. Like he tried to hack a dating profile thing and got every woman to want to line up with him. And
unfortunately, when they lined up and were wooed by the story and the photos, they got awkward Christian.
yes, so he was not able to land a single one of those fish. It did not appear.
Yeah, but his brilliance definitely showed up in knowing how to get every woman at that speed networking event interested in him and his profile.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want to note, just with autism in general, like the hacking, like everything with him. If you know someone who's autistic, do not for a second think that means they are unintelligent. Matter of fact, there's a good chance that they're more intelligent than you are.
Yeah.
It's like, it definitely has its drawbacks, but it sometimes kind of has its superpowers too. So, and you could definitely see that in Christian Wolf. Like I think that was a good portrayal of adult autism.
Well, and you talk about how people, accepting someone as they are, but you see this character of his brother, Brax, who, even though he grew up with Christian, is still like, why can't you say you're glad to see me? Why can't you call me? Why can't you reach out? Why don't you keep in touch? And obviously, even though they have been raised together and gone through so much together, there's still a disconnect with Brax not understanding that that's just how Christian is. He's not going to be like, oh, buddy, I missed you. Give him a big hug.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's definitely it.
But
either that or it's because he's from Glendale, one of the two.
So, yeah, no, that was the cowboy in the bar. Yeah.
No, the cowboy. It was explained to the cowboy that Christian was from Glendale.
Okay.
As a way of, like, oh, excuse him, he's from Glendale.
Okay. So when we look at that dynamic between siblings, though, even though Christian wasn't capable of bringing that support, that appreciation to Braxton still wanted it. And that's a complicated thing in any sort of relationship, whether it's a family relationship or friends or partners or.
We all want what we can't have.
Well, I don't know about that, but it was interesting to see that even though Braxton would do anything for his brother and frequently fought battles alongside of him when they were both kids growing up, but that Braxton really didn't understand that his brother was capable of the limited emotional connection that he was.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, you would think he'd have a better understanding, but he apparently did not.
So what would you do in any of the situations of this film? One being that we start off with someone that you have a kind of unconventional professional relationship with gets murdered, and their last words are written on their arm, which is basically to find you because they respect you and know that you can come in and pick up where they left off in solving this case.
What would I do in any of these scenarios?
I mean, you wouldn't save the kids. We've already been pretty clear here.
Yeah, no, I have that one written down. Would I go say no? I would not. Absolutely not. I mean, basically, you're trying to take on a Rambo role here, and you're just two people going into a damn army. No.
Cool your jets, ladies. He's taken.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, okay, if I'm the kids that are being driven to the hole, once I get there, I think I'm probably gonna be like, okay, listen, you're gonna kill me anyway. I'm at least gonna run, because if I run, I've got a chance. If I don't run, you're gonna shoot me. So F it.
That's actually good. What would you do? What would you do if you were transported somewhere under duress and felt like you were being, and certainly we're not 100% sure how the how the kids were feeling. So this goes a little bit beyond the film. But if you were taking somewhere under duress and you felt like you might not make it out alive, what would you do? Yeah, no, I'm not being compliant. I'm not getting in any holes. I'm not willingly going anywhere. You are dragging me kicking and screaming to the best of my ability in every situation. I will make it your worst decision that you chose to target me or try to move me.
Yeah, so that's my thing. I mean, it depends on the scenario. If it's a single person who is basically holding me hostage or is actively holding me hostage, I'm probably going to try to find a way to attack them and overpower them or do whatever the hell I can. It does become a different scenario if you, say, got 2 or 3 people who all have guns that are pointed, knowing that if you go after one, the other 2 can...
Right.
I mean, unless you coordinate with everyone else on the bus, okay, y'all... I mean, I don't know how you do this, but y'all take him, and y'all take him. Yeah, but no, I mean, if I think death is imminent, I'm not going to be compliant. You're gonna kill me either running or fighting back.
Yeah. So one of my last would you do's would be looking at our U.S. Treasury Deputy Director Mary Beth Medina and the fact that she has a case to solve, but now she is with 2 people who are basically criminals. And by basically, I mean they are criminals and have all sorts of violent, unethical ways of getting stuff done. And you were like initially like, oh, no, we don't do that. But then you start seeing that they actually get results, but you also have laws to uphold. What would you do if you were Mary Beth Medina?
You know what? This is one of those instances where I'm probably just turning a blind eye.
Yeah.
Listen, these guys have killed my mentor. Like I'm here.
They didn't kill her mentor. The bad guys did.
Yeah, the bad guys did.
Oh, you said they. I thought you meant Christian.
Yeah, they the
and
bad
Brax.
guys killed my mentor. I've got these guys who are going to help me.
Oh, got it.
They have unconventional tactics. I'm probably just going to turn a blind eye on this one. Like, yeah, law, great and all, but if when you throw revenge into it, screw you.
Yeah, I would definitely have the same approach. And obviously, when you take... You swear to, uphold all these laws and yada, yada. Obviously, there's an expectation there that you really mean that. That said, sometimes the only way that things get done is if you are creative and you employ resources that might not be the ones you would choose first. And when it comes to, finding the killer of, your mentor and saving a bunch of kids and saving some prostitutes and doing the Lord's work here. Sometimes you have to. I agree. I would look the other way, saying I don't see what you're doing. I don't know about what you're doing. I don't hear it. I'm gonna go in the living room and watch an episode of
Jeopardy.
What I was gonna make a really bad joke. What's the Strangers? Perfect Strangers.
Perfect.
I just got to pull that out of my brain somewhere. I'm going to go to the living room and watch an episode of
Balky reference.
Yeah, no, I'm not watching Perfect Strangers, but you know where I'm going.
Yeah. Though we can't not discuss the ass.
What?
The ass.
What do you mean?
The acquired savant syndrome.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go. Can you explain that?
So it turns out the person that they're looking for, we eventually find, developed acquired savant syndrome. And I'm like, is that a real thing? It actually is a real thing. It's hyper freaking rare, but it is a thing that they don't quite understand, that how a brain injury can
all of a sudden make you an expert at things you knew nothing about before.
Yeah, that said, though, I don't know. Like, she seemed very disconnected from the whole thing. Like, we know where your son is. She's like, eh.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. And
don't care.
Once you went from a normal person to turning into a contract killer, I guess your priorities changed a little bit. I thought that was strange as well, but also, too, she was obviously not the same person she once was after she had gone through the ass transformation.
Also, I'm sorry. I've got to call out some sloppy writing on this.
Okay.
So there's the picture of her and her husband and her boy.
Right.
And at the beginning of the movie, whoever that guy was, the guy who got killed, the mentor, shows her the picture and says, I'm looking for these people.
Right.
And now he's figured it out. Now we haven't figured it out at that point. And she's just like, I don't kill kids. Okay, well, that's great. You don't kill kids. But later on in the movie, she sees that picture again on the wall. And she has this incredibly visceral reaction to it. Like, in a way, like, she'd never seen that picture before. But she clearly had seen that picture before.
Yeah. So what would you do if you were the writer?
I don't know. I
check your continuity a little bit better there.
Yeah, I'd figure something out there. Also, why did they give the speed of the motorcycle in kilometers per hour? Because I assure you, that bike was not going 200 miles an hour.
I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. At 200 miles an hour, or 200 kilometers an hour, that's still 120 miles an hour. But would you drive through L.A.?
No.
120.
No, actually,
an hour?
that made me really uncomfortable watching him speed through the night on that motorcycle at such high speeds because, there would be a million things that would come in your way. You do not have clear streets in LA, even in the middle of the night.
I've done 35 miles an hour on a 50cc scooter before. I was good with that. I was good. Yeah, and that was mostly because I was going downhill. You don't usually get to that.
You are one evil Knievel.
Yeah, let me tell you. Though I did have one more thing, and I'm curious about this. So they had the Christian's House of Autism or whatever.
Yes, the facility where the kids live. Different kids, not the bus kids, but different kids.
Who's the behind the scenes kids.
They're an army of highly skilled tech hackers who are all probably 13 years and younger.
I genuinely wonder how much of what they did can actually be done. Like, I have to assume that if you get into the ranks of like the CIA or the FBI who have access to things, like they don't need to hack cameras, they can just get access to them.
Yeah, it was a whole other next level, and I think that was kind of the point, is the fact that they're trying to get a photo from a woman's cell phone, and they basically track her down at her house, spy on her through her laptop camera, which I know is a real thing, and they also activate her thermostat and her TV remote controls and do multiple things to get her to get up from her desk, like ring her doorbell through her smart system.
So the TV I could see, the printer thing I could see. I don't know of a way of ringing a doorbell remotely through an app. Of course, also, like, they got access to that network pretty easily.
Probably some truth and some embellishment there.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure. Like, how much of this was truly sci-fi, and how much of it like could be done from a hacker's perspective.
I'm sure anything there that can't be done yet will be able to be done quite easily very soon.
I mean, if that's the case, I need to go home and update the security on my router, because F that. I don't want kids coming in and hacking everything.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.